Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast.
This is KSJE, community-supported public radio from San Juan College. KSJE has been sharing, celebrating, and promoting the art and artists of the Four Corners for more than 35 years. Connect with KSJE on air, on demand with KSJE podcasts, or with the KSJE app. KSJE, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners for more than 35 years. Find out more online at ksje.com.
Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning, the 21st day of May, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM over the air right here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on planet Earth, go onto our website to do that, ksje.com, or maybe you're listening through the KSJE radio app. Also, welcome to our viewers who are watching me right now. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. Welcome aboard, everyone. So glad that you are with us this morning, because coming up, we've got some great advice on scams that are going on across the country and right here in San Juan County. The Sheriff's Office is here to explain the work that they are doing to educate all of us about these scammers that are out and about, and also how they're working to find these folks and maybe make them accountable. So stay tuned for that conversation. It's coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then, of course, next hour, it's our classical music program, Roving with the Arts. Mick Hess will take over the studio at 9:06 coming up today. Don't forget, of course, you can also connect with us on other forms of social media if that's your thing. You can find us also on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And if listening to podcasts is your thing, we publish podcasts almost every day, and you'll find them wherever you listen to podcasts. So check it out, subscribe, and maybe discover a new program that you may have missed. Better yet, our podcasts are also part of the KSJE radio app. You can download it now from the App Store or Google Play. Stay connected, listen live, take us with you. It's the KSJE radio app. Outside our studios at San Juan College this morning, it is a partly sunny morning so far, 49 degrees at the moment. We're expecting a mostly sunny day today, the high reaching 74 in Farmington. Clear skies tonight with a low of 49. On Friday, partly sunny with a high of 75. Tomorrow, sunny and 77. On Saturday, warming up to 82. On Sunday, partly sunny, 79 on Memorial Day Monday, and overnight lows in the 50s. Back with my guests from the San Juan County Sheriff's Office right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. It's physician-led and supported by specialists, so patients can receive the treatment they need right here at home. When every minute matters, dedicated caregivers are here for you. San Juan Regional Medical Center, serving the Four Corners region for generations. Find out more at sanjuanregional.com. KSJE is supported by Riverfest, New Mexico, flowing through time, May 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Riverfest needs volunteers. You must be 16 years of age or older. Go online to sign up for one or more 2-hour shifts. Riverfest, New Mexico, flowing through time, May 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, along the Animas River in Farmington. Find out more online at riverfestnewmexico.com.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Michlin morning program on KSJE.
I'm back in the studio this morning, as I mentioned, with my guest from the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. Joining us here in the studio is Detective Nick Adegite. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Also joining us here in the studio is Rebekah. She is the Public Information Manager for the Sheriff's Office. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you both for coming in to share about your work with scams and scammers in the area. And we were talking before we came on the air this morning that it is a growing problem, not just here in San Juan County, but across the country, correct?
Yes, it's been a big issue.
Yeah, and so it's because these scammers just getting smarter or more devious, or you were talking a little bit about they're adding some technology to their toolkit, I guess.
It's a little bit of both. The scam used to be very traditional as far as you would try to convince someone to give you money for a very specific thing. That's
Right.
multiplied over the years as far as access to email, access to phone numbers, applications, text messages, now online stuff, AI. So instead of it coming from one direction, it's coming from all directions. And now you kind of have to question everything you do if it's someone you don't know, and it makes it a lot harder to figure out.
Right. So the target isn't always money necessarily. It could be just information.
It could be information. There's been stuff with title scams as far as getting your house title.
Right.
There's a bunch of different avenues they try to go after. They might go through it through your family members instead of your finances. And whatever you're having access to is what they're going to try to get.
Interesting. You sent over some data about some of these things and just how big a problem that this is, right?
Yes.
And so as we're looking at this is from 2024. I think that's the most recent year that the data was available. But here we see like 2.6 million fraud reports.
Yes. It's going to be, and that's probably a relatively low number. It's more than doubled, I would imagine, nowadays, just because you have to
Even
think,
since 2024. Even in
Yes.
the last 2 years, it's doubled, you think?
Absolutely.
Wow.
The amount of frauds that are occurring and being reported, some things are streamlined, like Farmington has their little kiosk booth in the station where you can make your own reports generated. You can do that. You can call it in. A lot of people call the FBI to report stuff because they think that's who you should call. And then there's stuff where you can just report it online to the identitytheft.gov, and that's a whole different system that we don't even get access to. So people are reporting across all sorts of platforms.
Which I guess is good
It's good,
that they're reporting it, but they're still getting scammed.
and it makes it trickier because if you have someone who has a local offense that's reporting it to the FBI is not going to investigate it because it's not their jurisdiction. And then we have to wait for that to come back to us or have the person actually call us to report it. So there's a delay in what happens, which takes us longer to find the information and possibly get their money back.
Gotcha. So all that goes into it, I guess, as
Yes.
these reports come in. And then I guess, too, there's a lot of maybe folks who don't even make a report because maybe they're embarrassed or they're just think they can figure it out on their own or lots of other reasons, I suppose, right?
They'll try to, some of them, if they're really determined, see if they can try to catch this person in the scheme, and maybe they can catch them up and take their information. Other ones, like you said, are embarrassed if it's a romance scam or if it's something where, you gave away your retirement account. What are you going to do to try to get that back? And do you have the humility to tell someone you messed up at such a huge scale, because that's the rest of your money for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
How do you go about that? Some of them, the romance scams, there's that shame because the family told you probably shouldn't date this person online, but you did it anyway, and it's been a year, and now they have access to your bank accounts, and you have to tell the same people, I told you so, and it's hard.
Right. All those things. And I'm sure you've heard that and much, much more.
Much more.
In the work that you've been doing. And how long have you been doing this kind of work? Is this your only focus at the sheriff's office, or do you work on other stuff too?
So I do cyber crimes, so I get a
Got
lot of
it.
the frauds, but I do internet crimes against children,
Sure.
and then just kind of general online crimes.
Other duties as assigned.
Yes.
Is probably how it works out.
Yeah.
for all of us in our
Whatever
jobs.
comes across.
So that's true, but very interesting. Here's another graphic that you sent over as well about younger people that are also maybe being targeted now more than before.
Yes, and that's kind of come with technology too, and then just kind of that lack of education. Anywhere from 16 to 33, they don't have that life experience to question something. So again, the romance scams, or a lot of, with COVID happening where people were working remotely, they find a job that they think it's online and they're just supposed to pay someone else's bills, and it ends up they're laundering money for somebody else, taking checks from one person and sending it to another, and they have no idea what they're doing because they think it's their job. But the person tells them, I'll send you a check for $10,000, you keep $200 and send the rest of it to this person, and that's your pay. And they're like, oh, it's really easy, I have my own time schedule, I get to work from home, this is great. And they have no idea what they're doing until it's too late.
Yeah. Ouch. Such a So it seems like an obvious red flag, but not for everybody. Obviously, or this
Not
wouldn't be
for
happening,
everybody.
right?
Well, and they're very convincing with the documents they have. They'll make a fake W-2, which now gives them your information, and they'll provide you fake applications, which gives them more of your information.
Right.
And you're under the guise that it's for a legitimate purpose.
Interesting. But again, for folks younger, again, we're seeing on the screen now, radio audience ages 20 to 29. That's about 44% of these reports. Again, ages like 70 to 79 is 24%, but the monetary losses are higher with the older population.
Significantly.
Significantly, that's true. And so that's something else to be concerned about. But I guess for younger people or parents, I mean, I guess maybe some education for even if you're younger than 20. If you're getting a smartphone, you're getting online, some rules of the road, so to speak, I guess, are being good advice.
Yeah, I mean, stick with applications that you know.
Right.
Talking to strangers, not always the best thing. If you have someone who doesn't know you and they're trying to ask you to help them out with something super quickly, maybe take a pause to figure out what exactly are you helping on and understand what you're actually doing or who you're talking to.
Right.
But a lot of it's just that initial hesitation of if it sounds like it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, exactly. And again, these nice people trying to reach out, and then maybe in a couple of days they're like, oh, and I'm having a hard time making rent this month, or something like that. That's usually how it goes, isn't it?
It could start something small like, hey, I need to get gas. I couldn't afford it today. Could you send me $20? And you're like, oh, it's $20. Not a big deal.
Right.
And then $20 turns into 100, turns into 1,000. Now you're involved in this huge scheme. They have no idea what's going on.
Right. And your bank account is a lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
Than
Or
it's
closed.
Yeah, right. True. Exactly. Another thing, imposter scams, again, an identity theft. That's another big thing that sometimes these can lead to, I suppose, right?
A huge thing. And those are a little bit harder because it might be something where you accidentally gave the information or something where your information was breached. We've had a lot of data breaches with larger companies. Google, Microsoft had some, a lot of the major institutions, Target, where their online records just got breached and then you have no idea what information from that was taken. That information usually gets sold on the dark web, goes to who knows where, and then you don't really know when that's going to turn up. I try to tell people to do a credit check because you get a free one every year.
Right.
So just to see, is there any lines of credit that's been taken out against your name that you weren't aware of? Some of them are a little bit more advanced where if you had a loan with one company before, that company gets a data breach and then they'll take your information to make a loan under you for something else to someone else.
Sure.
And you don't know until you get the default notice that you didn't pay your bill.
Right. And so that's, I guess, the scary part is that these things could be going on even without your knowledge until it's too late, I guess, or it's almost too late, and then you get this bill or you get this default or judgment or who knows, right?
Who knows?
But that's what happens
Yes.
in a lot of these cases and things like that. Rebekah Click, I want to bring you into the conversation, too, about your part of this and working with this. Your job at the Sheriff's Office, of course, is public information and use social media a lot. I imagine that's another way that scammers can try to wiggle their way into somebody's life to try to befriend them or message them or what have you, is using social media.
Absolutely, they can. So the same thing that Detective Adegite said with the romance scams. We see a lot of people who will get messaged out of the blue, kind of out of, they weren't looking, they may not have even been on a dating site, or they were, and then they get a message from someone. It starts out great, everything seems normal, and then just like Detective Adegite says, it starts with usually a small amount of money, just saying, oh, can I have, $20 for this, $100 for that, I'm overseas and my account got frozen, I just need money to get home, things like that. And before you know it, those little things add up, and you've given thousands of dollars away before you even know it.
Right, but usually some kind of maybe emotional connection, or trying to make an emotional connection to make that ask maybe a little bit more tug on your heartstrings, I guess, for these people that want to do the right thing, and so they kind of know what they're doing.
Yes, they absolutely prey on your compassion, your emotions. They count on you being a better person than they are, honestly, that you would be willing to help someone out in a pinch, and so they really count on that and exploit that, unfortunately. So it's not really a matter of being smart enough to not fall for a scam. They really do go for the heart on that.
Right, very true. And Detective, I imagine you've talked to folks who've been in that situation or fallen for those types of things.
Pretty recently as well, actually.
Right.
It's kind of a hard thing. The romance scams are a little bit more popular because the culture of dating kind of changed. traditionally you would go meet people face to face, go to a bar, and then have a conversation. A lot of that is switched to online. Ease of access, you have a higher dating pool, so you don't have as many barriers to like, well, I don't know this person, so I don't think they're a bad person, but we'll just kind of see what happens. And you get more sucked in because it's easier to love bomb somebody, send them with messages, tell them they're a great person, and it's all the stuff you want to hear, so why would it be a bad thing? Until they start asking for different things, and you want to make them happy, and then it just kind of spirals.
Right. But I mean, I gave my phone number to them, and they called me, and they have a local number. So doesn't that mean that they're legit? I mean, how could that be messed up?
I wish it was. I really do. The spoof numbers are also a big thing. It's kind of just an overall terror system where you have no idea who you're talking to or where they're coming from. Some of the guys are really good with their accents, so it's not as thick, but the ones who've been doing this for a while are very fluent in being able to know different languages and different dialects to convey what they need to, and they're going to say all the things you want to hear.
Right. We don't hear as much from the Nigerian princes as we used to, but the other ones are out there, right?
They're still out there, and they'll change their number from Nigeria or Venezuela or Nicaragua to Farmington or Albuquerque, and you just don't know.
Right.
And when you look it up, it's not going to come back to anything, which is hard.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still a scam.
It's
and
absolutely
it should still
scam.
raise a bunch of red flags, which is another thing that we want to go over a little bit about what some of the things to watch out for as you are kind of dealing with some of these things. And so the first one is this creating urgency or fear, and I guess that's the whole asking for money, or I really need this $5 for gas to get to work or whatever.
And we see that more with these scams involving the older community. They're saying that there's something that happened, like your son or daughter got into a crash with someone who's pregnant and you have to send $10,000, otherwise we'll sue you. And so it's a very hurry up, and they're not giving you time to think, which is where that hesitation kind of goes away because it's so urgent on their side. They can't call someone and try to figure out, like, stay on the phone, don't hang up the phone with me, we have to do this right now. It's a very serious matter, and they're convinced to do it. And they prey on that because if you don't have a second to pause, where's that thought in the back of your head saying, this might not be something I should be doing?
Right. And how would this person on the phone know that I have a granddaughter or something like that who's away at school? So that seems to make sense.
Yes.
But they know. They can figure that out, or they can find that out somehow.
Well, and a lot of stuff people kind of don't remember is all the different applications and businesses you go to are collecting everyone's data. And a lot of that data is made public. So you can look up somebody and find what's their address, who's their family, where are they living, to kind of know who you should go after. And they try it, and if it works for them, and if it doesn't, they move on to another person.
Sure. Well, and I guess even going back to social media, that's another thing. If I'm posting everything in my life publicly on social media, and they know that I just got back from graduation in some other state, and my grandkids were there or whatever, that gives them some of that information, right? It's pretty easy to get.
It's very easy to get, especially if like the security restrictions aren't as high. You might have it private for you and your friends, but if I just friend one of your friends, now I can see everything on your page. So it's hard to balance that, having a public outward profile while still being a private person.
Right.
And it's kind of something you have to weigh as an individual.
Exactly. The other thing on this list too, trying to isolate you, the same kind of thing, I guess, right? Don't tell anybody, let's just deal with this.
Don't call the cops, don't tell your family. If you do that, something will happen to you. And so you're creating this fear of the unknown, where they might provide a bunch of information like, I know you live at this address, I know you drive this car, I know you work here. If you tell anybody, something's going to happen, and you're automatically kind of panic, like, how do they have this information? It should be very private. And so they use that to keep you from trying to talk to other people or going to law enforcement.
Got you. But in reality, these people may be thousands of miles away and have no intention of following up on these threats.
Usually across an ocean somewhere far, far away.
Got it. But they still know enough about you to make you think that they are down the street or could actually follow through.
And it's the same thing with getting those public reports where you're, trying to get a background on someone and you pay $5 to get a report or something. That's the stuff they're using every day, because if they get $2,000 from one person, that's a copious amount of reports on anybody else they can go after, and that's usually what they use.
And going back to some of these hacks on this these databases and things like that, I mean, that's worth some kind of value on the dark web, right? So if somebody gets thousands of email addresses or usernames and passwords, that's gold for some of these scammers and things, and they will pay for that information to then launch into their I guess, phone calls or whatever they're doing.
Right. That stuff gives a lot because you can start corroborating with, you have someone's email. So now I can try to breach into this person's email if they have a basic password. And now if I have their email, I see the stuff they're looking at. I see the bills they're paying. I can see you paid your utility bill. It was $300. So now I'm going to scam you for utilities saying you still owe money on that. Having those complicated passwords with the two-factor authentication for most of your accounts and applications is a huge way to buffer that. But if you don't, and it's just some simple password, that's the type of stuff they're going to go for and see what they can get. Because unfortunately, if you have an online account and that was breached, say it was Target, most people that use the same password for Target use the same password for their bank account or for their email or for most of the things because it's too complicated to have a bunch of different things. And that's what they exploit.
Right. Exactly. Once they find one that works, game on.
Yep.
To try to find the rest of them that might work. So that's
unfortunately
good advice. And that's why when we hear change your password or have that two-factor authentication set up, that's the reason why.
Absolutely.
And so that's the issue. Some of the other red flags, demanding unusual payment methods again.
Yep. We've had a lot of people. There was one where they had scammed the utility company and actually spoofed their number. And so they were pulling up records from like previous things showing, hey, you owe this much. You need to pay your utilities. We're going to turn off your power. And like, I can't do that. Like, it's a business. We have to keep the power on. Cool. We'll go ahead and pay it. And like, all right, well, I'll go send a check. No. I need a Green Dot gift card. And normally you would pause like, I've never paid my utility bill with a gift card. But that's what they push. And in that, using that urgency and that panic in the moment, you're like, okay, well, I'll go get it. We'll get it from a bunch of different places, scratch off the back of the card and send me the picture, and then we'll call it square. And you're like, it's a completely, when you're out of the moment, you're like, I would never pay this way normally. But again, that panic and that urgency, you're not thinking rationally.
Right. And again, if you paid it a more traditional way, you might be able to reverse that or track that or whatever, right? And so that's why they don't want you to do that traditional payment plan and things like that. So that makes sense. Asking for personal or financial information, same thing, right? That gives them access to who knows what.
Like, you have to think about banks. If a bank calls you because they suspect fraud, they're not going to ask you what's your mother's maiden name or what's your date of birth or your social. They're going to ask the last four of something. What's the last four of your debit card? What's the last four of your account? Something only you should know. And a bank will never ask you to verify your own information because they have that. If you're telling the bank, your last home address or your mother's maiden name or your, the security question kind of things, like what was your mascot in high school, things of that nature, that's not something a bank's going to ask for. And that's someone else posing as that person to try to get the information to access other accounts you have.
Got it. Interesting. And I've always been told that if someone's calling you, to be very skeptical about giving any kind of information, maybe the best thing would be to try to call them back or call your bank
100%.
directly with the number that you have on your card and not take their number and call them back at their number, right?
Yes, that helps huge. Another thing too, some people bank out of town, so it's a little bit harder. Look up the information online from their website. Call that number. See if you can get in touch with your branch. Tell them like, hey, I got this call and it seemed a little weird. Try to verify as best you can. Sometimes the number on the back of the card, it's not that it's a bad thing, but who sent you the card?
Well, good point. Right.
So,
if it's a card I've had for a while, maybe that's better. If it's a brand new card, be
a little hesitant
worried about that.
one.
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, calling your local branch, letting them know, like Wells Fargo, we only have really 2 here locally. We had a lot more. So if something happened, like take a break, go drive to the bank, see if there's something going on in person. It's hard for a physical person to have a lie for you, unless it's a very, very elaborate scheme, which I've never seen in 14 years.
Right, sure. But still, good to be skeptical and certainly be aware. Some other red flags, again, the pressure, I guess, the same type of thing, right? We need to resolve this quickly.
Yes, they're going to hurry and make urgent, and they're going to bombard you with a bunch of different calls, so it's constantly going on, and you don't have a moment of pause.
And the next one, they want to keep you on the phone, or they won't let you call back, same type of thing.
We've had some where some people were on the phone for 7 hours, and they're trying
7 hours?
Trying to work through a problem. Like, let me transfer to this person. I'll transfer to this person. We've got this person with the FBI. They're going to be really great. I'm going to add them to the call, and they'll take over from there. And it's this grandiose scheme where, oh, well, look at all these people involved. They're here to help me. This has to be real. And it's just the same guy or his buddy in a room just passing the phone back and forth.
Wow.
It's elaborate.
That is a major investment, I guess, in the scam. So
if you're making $400,000 out of it, it's a pretty good deal.
I suppose someone's retirement account on the line. I guess you're right. You're exactly right about that. Very interesting. And finally, if something doesn't sound or doesn't feel right, I guess, and that's something that we all kind of get sometimes in these situations.
And it's the one that we overlook the most is it's going to feel odd right off the bat, because if you're not normally getting called for your bank for suspicious activity, if you're not getting called from some company because something happened, you're normally not going to be as hesitant for it. But when it happens and you feel like it's weird, you're also fighting your own curiosity to figure out what's going on. You're like, well, there's no way someone accessed my bank account. What are you talking about? And they go further into it, and then that hesitation just kind of goes away, and now they're involved. Be skeptical, absolutely, especially if it's someone you don't know or a situation that hasn't happened to you. Absolutely be guarded.
Yeah, no kidding. Very true. And again, if you have questions, if you're concerned, just hang up. You can call and report it, I guess, is the other thing, right? Call dispatch.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it, and they can route it to whatever law enforcement agency should be dealing with this, and that gets you on the case, I guess, a lot faster, right?
Much faster. If someone called you about a scam or something and you don't know, hang up and call us, and we'll tell you, like, hey, what's going on? And you can explain the situation, and maybe we can give you advice as far as how to follow up with it. If it's something with the bank, contact your bank. If it's something where someone gotten into an accident, we might ask, well, have you tried calling them first instead of this person who's not your son or daughter? Oh,
Right.
I didn't think about that. And then it usually nips it in the butt pretty early.
Sure. But just that quickly is a nice way to kind of resolve things before things get out of hand.
Absolutely.
Is another important piece of advice. And again, the non-emergency dispatch number, 505-334-6622. 505-334-6622 is the best way to report some of these things from going on. I'll tell a personal story real quick. As my email got hacked about maybe a year or so ago, the hackers only got access to my Facebook account for about 3 weeks, and that was fun.
Yeah.
But what wasn't so much fun is that I went in and you could find out kind of where you're logged in or the login attempts
Yes.
to your account, and it was worldwide.
All over.
Apparently, my email, because it's so old, has been on lists forever on the dark web, and so folks were trying to hack into my email account almost in every country in the world, and the list was amazing. And so all it took was to find that one combination, and then they got in, and it set up a forward to a Gmail account, and all my incoming emails were now going to this, and luckily no other things got stolen or no identity theft or anything like that, but I'm sure it was close, and I was anyway concerned. But that's my story of what happened, so I understand what you're talking about.
Emails are a good one because we get so much email nowadays and so much advertisements, it's hard to figure out what's real.
Right.
One we commonly get is, you got a package that needs to get redelivered from Amazon. You're like, oh, well, I did buy something, so let me go see what it is. And you click on the link in there to log in. You have logged in on their version of Amazon, not yours. I like to check every web address for every email I get to see, is it actually Amazon or is it amazon.com/Ben4536? That's not Amazon.
Right.
And those little ones, even if you did it for a second, that's how they get that access to your email.
Sure. Well, and now they've got your Amazon account.
And everything
can log
else.
into that. And if you've got a credit card attached to that, game over.
It's pretty much done.
Kind of thing. So that's how it happens, just that quickly. There's another local story that I wanted to ask you both about, too, that was a local resident, a victim of one of these types of scams, and successfully you all were able to get money back. And this is a kind of a happy ending, which is great.
It was. It was actually a real big deal from patrol. This lady had got a check, and she was a cashier's check for $168,000, and she had sent it to an address in Seattle for something she thought was legitimate, but ended up not being at all. Called pretty quickly, which was helpful because we were able to get on it very early. We were able to contact the postal inspector and get them to put a hold on it from being delivered, and was actually able to get the check to come back to her. So she's not out any of the money, thank God.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, we don't know what address they're sending it to. So once it gets delivered, it's gone. And we have no idea where to find it. So they did a really good job getting in touch with the postal inspector, talking to FedEx, making sure, did the delivery get delivered yet? Where is it at in transit? And stopping that driver to get that package specifically to come back.
Nice.
So it's a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, and a lot of money, too. You've $167,000.
That's a whole lot. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a house, that's a retirement, that's a lot of years you wouldn't have to work if you still had it. So
Right. But that's when all the pieces came together, and it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't.
But when they do, it's nice to talk about it.
Absolutely.
For sure. That's wonderful. And Rebekah, again, for you and the job that you do, again, working at the sheriff's office to get the word out about some of these success stories too. That's important as well, to let folks know that maybe it's not a lost cause if you're the victim of one of these scams.
The earlier you report it, the better. I think this story is just proof of that. That if that citizen had waited even an extra day, it probably wouldn't have had the same outcome that it did. Because she, called us as early as she did, we were able to do things we couldn't have done later. And so, just if you do think you've been the victim of this scam, call us as soon as you come to that realization. And we always tell people when you do get a scammer call, stop. Like we were saying, pause, hang up. If we had a few scams probably about a year ago, and they're still going around, of people pretending to be law enforcement officers saying they have a warrant for your arrest. I jokingly tell people we never call you for that. We show up to your house. But if you've never been on the wrong,
direct way to do that,
absolutely.
Right? Yes.
But if you've never been on the wrong side of the law, you don't know how warrants work.
Right.
And so we always say, if we're actually calling you, say Detective Adegite has a case and he is actually trying to get a hold of you, he will never be upset if you say, let me take a second and call dispatch. And then you call dispatch, you say, hey, I was speaking with a Detective Adegite. They know how to get back in contact with him, get you patched right back over. Takes an extra minute out of everyone's day, but it stops you from getting scammed in case it's someone pretending to be law enforcement, pretending to say that you need to pay to get this warrant cleared, using the weird payment methods, gift cards, Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. We would way rather do that in our day-to-day of having that minute taken out when we're trying to legitimately contact you than to have you say, well, I thought I was on the phone with you. I've seen your name on Facebook, so I know that you are a detective at the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. It sounds legitimate. They do take the names of our deputies and detectives and so on. We would rather you take that time and just call dispatch, let them patch you back over. That way who you're talking to is legitimate.
Yeah, no kidding. Very true. And so another great piece of advice for folks to be able to kind of avoid these scams and just really verify and check it out before things get out of hand. So that's important advice as well. We're just about out of time this morning, both of you, but I really appreciate you both coming in and sharing some of this great advice about folks so they can stay safe and be aware of some of these things. But even in a place like this where we think we're kind of off the beaten path and we're in a more rural part of the country, the scammers don't care. They still target folks no matter where you live.
Absolutely.
It's job security, I guess, for you,
I
detective.
guess so. I mean, it keeps us busy.
I suppose that's true, but always appreciate you coming in, though. Thank you both very much for being here and for sharing this advice with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome.
Awesome.
My guest this morning from the San Juan County Sheriff's Office with me here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.